I didn't have a bit prepared, but now I feel like I should do a bit because of the episode. So
it's a good episode to do a bit for.
I know, but I didn't
roll your R's.
I didn't know.
Just use some really flourishy language.
No, I'm gonna do announcer.
But you got to do that. That radio voice.
Yeah. The dead speak. That awful Christ. Star Wars movie. All right, here we go. And welcome to A Star to Steer By. Previously on Star to Steer By, I am Jake.
Fuck, this is Chris.
My Zeppelin is on fire, and this is Ames.
Intruder, this is Liz.
And Caitlin was killed in a fiery explosion.
But she's one of the heroes. She's not supposed to die.
Well, now you know she wasn't truly a hero after all. This week on A Star to Steer By, we are talking about 2 Star Trek Voyager episodes, Bride of Chaotica! And Gravity.
What number are we on?
This is episode 2863!
Whoa!
Fuck, I watched the Sandra Bullock movie. I'm not ready.
No, you're ready.
What's Sandra Bullock movie?
Gravity!
Oh,
Gravity.
I'm thinking Bride of Chaotica.
That frankly overrated film.
Never seen it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. People loved it. I was a little,
I thought I remember the effects being good.
Yeah, I think was what was good.
Yeah.
That was what was good, but like the rest of it was kind of okay.
The best Sandra Bullock science fiction film is Demolition Man.
Yeah, that's true. Although she was a lead in that, I don't think of that as a Sandra Bullock film. It's a Stallone film.
It's because she was a sexy lamp roll.
That's right. She truly was. And there were some steamy sex scenes in that, I'll tell you. All right. Well, yeah, about that. Actually, The Net. I love that's such a corny movie, but I've
never seen it.
I like that movie a lot.
There's some parts of it.
Okay. Anywho, Bride of Chaotica. We'll start there. So, Bride of Chaotica, you'll recall the adventures of Captain Proton.
Yay, we love him.
We played in the world of Captain Proton a couple times before, and we are back in black and white. And our heroes, Captain Proton, played by Tom Paris, played by Robert Duncan McNeil, and
played by Nick Locarno.
And then played by Nick Locarno, yeah, that's right. And I have no idea what Harry Kim's character... Buster Kincaid, there you go. Buster Kincaid, played by Harry Kim, played by Garrett Wang, played by... Garrett Wang, playing himself as this other
played
character.
by a different dimensions Garrett Wang.
That's right.
Crossed over.
So we're back in the land of Captain Proton, and we're trying to again defeat Dr. Chaotica, who is... I always feel like it's because of the Ika at the end, where I feel like that should be a female character, just based on linguistically. Yeah, but
because they keep referring to him as Chaotica. So anytime they're like, "Oh, Chaotica," I'm like, "Oh, that's the character Janeway's going to play." No, that's the other guy.
She's Queen Arachnia.
She's going to be the bride of.
Yeah, that's right. But spoiler alert, because first we're hanging out in the holodeck, and we have all our favorites. We have, what's the dude's name? Lunzak, who's like the henchman, real piece of shit. Of course, we have our Satan's robot.
He's my favorite.
Friend.
Oh, the best. I want one.
Constance Goodhart is been captured by Chaotica, and it's
screams, and that's all she does.
Wonderful screams.
She's a good screamer, though.
So Captain Proton springs into action. He's going to defeat what's going on, and on their way to the castle, they are like, that's weird. The ground shook. That's not supposed to happen in this program. They look over and it's like, oh, there's some sphincters in the sky. And they're like these glowing blue sphincters. And they're like, that's a little odd, isn't it?
It's supposed to be a black and white cloak.
So they're like, all right, you know what? Game's over. Something's wrong. Let's check it out. And then they can't turn off the holodeck. So they have to do an emergency site-to-site beam out to get off the holodeck, which is fun. And we find out that the Voyager is now trapped. Stuck in place. It's stuck in amber in space, in subspace or something, and the ship can't move. It really doesn't matter why, but they can't move. So they try all their tricks up their sleeves, reversing various polarities of things.
Yeah,
and
Janeway's been to a similar incident before because she was a scientist.
It's basically what's the
still is kind of.
What's the one where the Enterprise gets in a similar situation where they have to coast out of the ancient minefield? What's the name of that episode?
Oh, Gravity's Child?
No.
Galaxy's Child.
No. That's the one where the aliens are sucking the power. Yeah, I guess it's the same thing.
Is that the one with Leah Brahms?
That's the one with Leah Brahms. No, that's with real Leah Brahms.
Oh, that's the one with real Leah Brahms.
That's the one with real Leah Brahms. And hollow Leah Brahms. And awkward. Yeah, Galaxy's Child is the one where the nursing infant is draining power, so they have to sour the milk. I was thinking of the one where they come across the ancient battlefield and they find the ship with the dead captain on it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it turns out that they're stuck in a thing that's sapping the ship's power.
Oh, the double Picard one, right? Dead captain.
No.
Oh, shit, that one.
And then they have to get
Motherfucker.
Booby Trap.
Booby Trap, that's what it is.
The other Leia Brahms one.
Yes.
Yes, that's why I was thinking of that.
Yeah, it is Leia Brahms, but it's a different
Fake
Leia
Leia
Brahms.
Brahms. Much thirstier Leia Brahms.
They had to
Anywho.
put her in an episode called Booby Trap. Okay.
So anyway, that's not this episode,
Oh,
though.
right.
Yeah.
This episode is Bride of Chaotica, which is a very similar setup. They're stuck in this place, and the harder they try to push the ship, the more it pulls them back in.
Like a finger trap.
But back on the holodeck, which is still running, remember, some men appear out of the sphincters, and they're dressed as like for some reason they're dressed as like 30s FBI agents with fedoras and stuff, but that's beside the point. Anyway, they get captured by Lanzac, the henchman, and brought before Chaotica. And
Lanzac.
Whatever. Chaotica's like, you are agents of something that I don't give a shit about. The fifth dimension. And they're like, yes, you're right. We are from another dimension. And he's like, well, fuck you. And then he shoots one of them with a laser gun. And
ray gun.
And we find out that these men are actually photonic beings. So they're actually killed. And they think that the stuff in the holodeck is real. They think these are actual other photonic life forms.
Yeah, because human, like, flesh and blood type peoples, they don't even register.
Yeah, they don't even register. Yeah, like Tom and Tuvok go back to the holodeck to try to, like, negotiate with them, and they're like, we're not going to negotiate with you fictional bozos. We're going to kill Chaotica. And then they hatch this plan. They're like, we need, in order to get these guys to leave and hopefully free our ship, we need to defeat Chaotica for real. Like, we actually need to defeat him in the holodeck using the rules of the holodeck. So Tom comes up with this really contrived thing to get.
He's just following the plot of the story.
Well, yes, but like this whole episode is just a contrived way to get Kate Mulgrew into that outfit.
I don't mind that at all.
Which they do. They manage to get Captain Janeway to play Chaotica's romantic interest, Arachnia.
Queen Arachnia.
Queen of the Spider People! So she goes into the holodeck, and of course, Chaotica is smitten immediately. I would be. Yeah, so they hatch this plan where she tries to deactivate his lightning shield so that Captain Proton can swoop in and destroy the death ray with his destructo beam.
Yes.
But of course, it doesn't go according to plan. Arachnia gets captured, but then she unleashes her spider pheromones to try and put Chaotica under her spell, but it goes a little off track. The stink lines go in the wrong direction. And she accidentally targets Lanzac, so then he becomes smitten, and then she convinces him to release her. She does the old 1-2 punch on that guy, and he's down for the count, and then we finish hatching our plan and manage to defeat Chaotica, and the photonic beings leave. Oh, and I forgot the most important part. The President of Earth himself treats with the photonic life forms. And of course, by that I mean the Doctor disguised as the President of Earth, including his President of Earth seal on his jacket. So yeah, and then it's over, and then the ship is freed, and we get away, and
we don't have any other scenes with the fifth dimension invaders.
Yeah,
they're just gone.
They just had this brief war in which like many of their people were killed.
Many
people were killed, and they're just like, well, I guess that's over. So not great. Not this. If we were still talking about the Prime Directive like we were a couple weeks ago, this would have been an interesting Prime Directive example, right? Because by no fault of their own, they managed to like do a genocide on some poor photonic people.
They failed. They didn't know that was happening the whole time, though.
I know.
And they tried to warn them, but then the photonic people thought they were a simulation.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Not sure why they didn't just have the doctor explain the situation, but...
Well, they didn't realize yet. It's such a clever, contrived thing.
I mean, when they send him in.
Oh, when they send him in.
Like, at that point, they're just, like, so adhered to the...
That's true.
But again, it's a more fun episode this way.
Yeah, it is. It's a great way to do a fun episode. Like, I enjoyed this thoroughly because it was so smart about everything that it does.
Yeah.
Like, all the little nudges. Like freaking Harry notices, wait a minute, this is the same set as the last Proton episode. And Tom said, well, it was, expensive to make sets back then. Yeah. Like in Star Trek times. And how we went to the Vasquez Rocks every week.
So
we're going to go there in the next episode, I think.
Yay!
I did have, I asked Caitlin if she had any notes she wanted me to bring on her behalf. And she did say she couldn't decide whether or not you would love or hate this first episode. But she said, I'm slightly in favor of love because the robot was hilarious.
I love the robot so
Satan's
much.
Robot, yeah.
Did you?
He's so silly.
Did you look up Satan's Robot?
No, I didn't. Why?
Because I was like, I wonder who the fuck is in there.
Yeah.
And it turns out, did I close
Tim
the window?
Russ.
I did. No, but it's that the guy that plays Ayala. That, constant background dude.
Because he's on the set anyway.
Yeah, the guy who's always in the background is random crewman. Technically, he's the same crewman every time, but yeah, he was in the suit. And he was the only one listed, so he might have been the voice as well? I don't know. But yeah, that's Ayala in there.
Oh, that's excellent. Good for him.
Good for Ayala.
What a great role to play. I love when he's just talking about the invaders, and then he just switches sides, because fuck everything that's going on. Yeah. Good for you, Satan's Robot.
Well, things are clearly, enemy of my enemy. Everything's a little weird.
He just needs leadership.
Yes.
Yeah. I think there must have been, a deleted scene where, because Captain Proton has to repair him by switching out his vacuum tube. So I'm wondering if he, switched him from evil to good mode. Or
something. Wow, yes,
there would literally just be a switch inside, that Krusty doll.
Yep.
I loved when, what was it? They told him to be quiet, so he just whispered intruder.
Yeah. Invader, Clank.
Right, yeah.
Invader.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that robot.
Yeah, his design is also just so over-the-top camp.
Yep.
It looks like it's made of cardboard.
Yeah. The fact
I could make one for Halloween.
The fact that we don't have an official Satan's Robot figure.
We don't.
Like a high-detailed, one of those, ridiculous, overpriced, is just a crime.
Yeah, so the thing about this episode that kind of horrifies me is how many photonic people get killed.
Yeah, 60-ish?
Yeah, they said,
poor things.
Killed a whole bunch of our guys. And I'm like, Jesus.
I think I missed that detail. That kind of brings things down.
Yeah, when the doctor meets with the leader of the photonics, he's like, yeah, well, Chaotica's killed 60 of my guys. And it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, no, it's dying in the game, dying in real life for them.
Yeah, because even if the safeties are on, they're the light.
Yeah.
They can die in there. Okay. They're not corporeal beings.
The system doesn't know to have the safeties activated for them.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in that light, would you want to tell them that they just got killed by a video game?
Yeah, they might not take too kindly to that.
It's Chaotica's
the biggest baddie.
Real bad guy, the worst.
Thank you for taking him out for us.
Your people died nobly.
See, and I think I would argue this is a first contact Prime Directive situation. Because if a piece of Federation technology crash landed on a planet and started releasing radiation and was killing the people on that planet, you would count that as a Prime Directive situation. But and this is sort of the same thing where it's a piece of Federation technology, the holodeck, gets unleashed on these unsuspecting photonic people and starts killing them. So
and then they try to go in and undo the damage.
And they try to go in and
undo
the damage.
Or at least stop the damage from continuing to be made.
And and they even do kind of a duck blind situation by fixing it in in the realm that they understand by having like the Doctor pretend to be the president of Earth and Captain Proton, like they could there's probably other ways that they could, like, I don't understand how the fucking thing gets stuck on. Just pull the power. Pull out the gel packs.
Well, you see, the same thing that's shutting everything else down keeps the holodeck from... Wait, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make
That's the one
sense.
thing that never made sense to me, is like, how does this holodeck ever get stuck on? Like,
yeah.
Like, it's drawing power, so you just cut the power.
I will say, actually, I did, in a weird... The other day, my television got stuck on.
But if you unplugged it, it would go off.
It did, yes. Yes, that is the thing. But it was weird. I was like, something fucked up, so I turned it off, and it turned itself back on with the same issue. I was like, really? Wow. Yeah, I eventually did just have to unplug the damn thing.
That happened yesterday to a friend's Echo, where it just started playing music and then it wouldn't stop.
Oh no!
Until finally she just said the wake word, just like, I love you, and then it started singing a song to her, and then that made it stop after that.
I would
That's scary.
Yeah, no, that Echo I would unplug, smash with a hammer, throw in the trash, and get a new one.
She actually has already bought a new one, so she suspects that it knows.
Freeze it in carbonite.
No, see? I'll play music for you. What do you want? Don't get rid of me.
I love to, because I don't think I realized this in its previous 2 appearances of Captain Proton, but they, like, the music is in-world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And, because it'll kick in, and it's, it's done to sound sort of old and grainy, and kicks in at certain times. But at some point I realized, like, oh yeah, no, this is, like, the people playing the game hear this.
Mm-hmm.
And just have to kind of ignore it.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look, because I only read this afterwards and didn't pay attention enough during the episode itself. But I think even, like, scene transitions were very similar to how you would do it in an old
they did
They
the
were.
wipes.
They did the wipes.
They did crazy, weird-shaped wipes. Very, that the same stuff Lucas was aping.
Yeah,
with Star
like,
Wars.
normally I hate a wipe, but in this world, the wipes make sense, so do them.
Yeah. When we saw the recap, they were watching on like a screen in the room.
They were,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I appreciated that because, I guess, I don't know, it just felt very like, you're about to go into the laser tag room. Here's your briefing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh man, and then the end credits, they first start on the little screen, and it just kind of like goes into end credits from the little screen, and it was lovely.
They also had
good touch.
Nice little exaggerated Foley when Chaotica, like, used the cord on his microphone like a whip.
Huh.
Like, it was very over the top, and then when Janeway did the same thing later, it was the same exaggerated Foley.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, a fun program in the holodeck, if you don't get stuck in there with...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't, get your legs burnt off in real life, like Robbie almost did that time.
Yeah.
And I like... Because, I don't know, I have a love-hate relationship with holodeck episodes, because so many in TNG just leave a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
There's a lot in TNG.
Where it's just like, okay, it's the thing malfunctioned, the safety protocols are offline, and it's threatening our heroes.
Are any of them good?
We'll talk about them in a bit, because there will be more holodeck malfunction episodes to come, so one of our future blogtivities will go through all of them.
Oh, I specifically meant any of the TNG ones, though.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that Ship in a Bottle is pretty
Yeah, like, Moriarty himself is an interesting character, which we get as a result of it.
But I like the setup of Ship in a Bottle, too, with the ship within the ship. Which I think is cool.
Yeah, and I think this one does a great job because it's a holodeck malfunction that's an entirely new kind of holodeck malfunction. Like, it's going wrong because of this subspace thing, which allows for this entirely bizarre stream of events to happen in which these beings think this is real.
Yeah, that's pretty terrific. Like, I love this one. This one's great.
I think I like the tone is what makes it work for me. Like, the way that... First of all, the setup, like, when it gets to the point of, okay, let's present this to the captain, we've already seen her just having a headache of a day. Mm-hmm. She's, like, replicators are shutting down left and right. They can't get the damn ship to move, and there's only 4 toilets left, or 4 lavatories left.
I always assumed you beamed it out of you.
I guess, I don't know.
Which is why the brig doesn't have a toilet.
Well, no, I think the brig does have a toilet.
Where's the brig's toilet?
Didn't we see, am I making this up that, like, at some point we saw, like, a pull out, like,
I think
Star
it was
Trek
in
5.
Star Trek 5.
Or 6. 5 or 6.
Like, the bed can come out of the wall, so I'm assuming
Yeah, the toilet comes out of the wall, too.
Probably. Probably. But, like, so, apparently the Bolians do something horrible to the bathroom.
Yeah, I want to know what.
I don't. I definitely don't.
How many
like,
poop
Oh,
holes do
God.
they have?
I was going to say, what if that line down the middle of their face...
No.
Just opens up?
No, we're moving on. But, like, going through all of this, you already see her just the amount of patience she's already lost to the point of just give me the damn coffee. Give the woman her coffee, Neelix. So now it's like, okay, so we have a new problem. What is it? Then it's explained. She's like, and the look on her face, she's just like, okay.
I believe what I said during that scene was, Mr. Paris, if I could somehow demote you further, I would.
Yes.
So I think, like, that helps to sell it, because even the way that's done isn't just like, oh no, wah wah. Like, it's surprisingly understated in the delivery of a lot of the humor of just like Tuvok sitting there like, of course it's going like this.
Yes.
All right, we're just gonna get through it.
Such Vulcan sass this episode.
So much.
Tim Russ just tears it up in a non-emotional way, and he's so good.
He's just sitting there, and he's just thinking, this shit doesn't happen on Vulcan ships.
Yeah, my favorite exchange that I wrote down was when Satan's robot shows up. It's like, oh, Satan's robot, and Tuvok's just like, naturally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, that naturally is just...
Yeah, well
100%.
Well done, Tim Russ.
Even with a 7 getting in on the humor, though, because at first, Janeway's like, oh, I'm sure you'll want 7 to do that. And he's like, no, have you seen her try to act?
Oh, no. Yeah, she wouldn't be able to
she
do
could
it.
go.
Yeah, no.
She could play Satan's robot, but
Yeah, like she wouldn't be able to do our role. We know this. We saw her that one time with Satan's robot. She just broke him.
There, I finished your game. Are we done?
Yeah, but but then she's like, she says something to the effect of, just think of it as Starfleet's first contact with Planet X.
Yep.
I mean, so there are some things that don't make a ton of sense in this episode. Like, I'm assuming a regular old phaser would disrupt holodeck stuff.
Probably.
Like, they could probably just shoot. And
Has that been tested before?
I feel like we've seen holodeck people get shot with a phaser, and they kind of like...
Huh.
They kind of phase in and out and
Well, I'd
don't work
imagine
properly.
it's phased light, so I'm sure even if it doesn't by default, you could kind of just boop a few buttons and tweak a hoodly-doodly and...
Yeah, I like this episode a lot. I like the the humor of it. I like the setup. I'm not so much in the... I don't know that this episode actually really works in universe.
Well, yeah, just you can't think about it too hard, because in reality, Janeway, once she had the pheromones,
She should have used them immediately.
But then the episode would have been too short.
A little bit.
So she had to,
Well, I also really, really enjoyed watching Janeway, because she does this great progression of starting off like unsure and like, oh right, Tom said to do this, so she embellishes her language, and then every time she's like not looking at Chaotica, she's like rolling her eyes.
Yeah.
Like, oh boy, we're doing this. Okay, here we go. And then by the end, she's so into it.
Yeah.
She's like, no, 5 more minutes of this time. I have to berate Dr. Chaotica and lick my fucking shoes.
I'm gonna whip this microphone cord.
And what's good too is like, again, the eye rolls are never over the top big, like, ugh. They're just these little like, oh my
Great,
god.
yeah, let's just fine.
Though I will say, there was that moment where Tom is briefing her on the game. She's like, this is how you're spending your free time? It's like, lady, you try to bang Lord Burleigh, so you don't get to criticize anyone's holodeck use.
Yeah, there is the one thing. There was one kind of uncomfortable bit at the start, but I think before the episode kicks off.
Oh yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
And they're talking about how once we defeat Chaotica, we'll inherit his harem or something.
Free his head,
free his
the
harem.
slave girl.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be slave
in this
girls.
one.
Yeah, it's like...
It's like, I don't know who wrote that line, but they should be fired.
Yeah.
That was not necessary. I didn't like it. Didn't like it coming out of Harry.
Yep.
It was all bad. That can fuck right off. I mean, again, is it the kind of thing that would have been in that sort of thing?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Sure, but you don't have to have Harry looking forward to it.
Harry's not like, oh man, is it Slave Girl episode? No, Harry, that's next week. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of the like why this episode in Star Trek, what is this doing here when it's so ridiculous and you can't place it in the canon really. But it was originally conceived partly because there had been a fire on the bridge set that apparently, I think it took out like their star field or something that they have behind the view screen or something. The fire didn't hit the bridge, but the sprinklers sure did.
Oh.
So they used that as a time to like fix up a whole lot of stuff. I think they went through and reupholstered all the chairs. They fixed all the stuff and said, okay, well, while we're not doing stuff on the bridge, we need an episode that takes place with only minimal like stuff on the bridge that we'll shoot weeks and weeks later when this is done. So they're like, holodeck.
Wait. Let me get this straight. The real life set of the ship bridge has a fire suppression system. But the ship does not have a fire suppression system.
No, it does. It's just always one of the first things that breaks when the ship is broken.
I see.
It's really badly designed.
In Discovery, there's just a fire creation system.
Yeah, I was going to say, they have their wall fire.
It's really cold on the bridge.
I maintain what they've done is they finally found a way to keep consoles from exploding by having all that energy just reroute into those flamethrowers.
That are still on the bridge.
Look.
Fucking Discovery.
Baby steps, Starfleet. These people don't know what a fucking breaker switch is, so.
This is far in the future at this point.
Circuit breaker technology was lost during World War III.
That's exactly what I was
and still has not been rediscovered.
So have any of you ever seen like the Flash Gordon serials?
No, I haven't seen those. I think the most of the kind of world they were trying to evoke that I've seen is probably like Forbidden Planet.
Oh, okay.
Because that robot is very... What's the robot in Forbidden Planet called?
Oh, Robbie.
Is it Robbie the robot?
Well, that's its real life designation.
I
don't know what they call it in the film.
Okay.
Robbie the robot is a celebrity robot who appeared in many films.
He even appeared in an episode of Columbo.
Mm-hmm.
Although when he's kind of spinning in circles, waving his arms, being upset, that's a little more
I hope
Lost in Space robot.
Yeah.
Definitely the murderer.
No, but he's utilized by the murderer to help set up his alibi.
Jesus
Brilliant,
Christ.
good. Lovely.
When Satan's robots, like I said, swinging his arms and spinning, that's what's that robot? B2, B5? Like, they only ever call it robot in the show, but it actually has, like, a designation.
In which
In
show?
Lost in Space?
Yeah, the Lost in Space robot.
Yeah.
I can't think of his
accordion
name.
Arms.
Yeah. Man, I don't think I've ever seen any of the actual old... I've seen, like, clips. And again, I know I mentioned this earlier, but I've seen some of Commando Cody because they've done it on Mystery Science Theater.
Oh, yeah. I think the 1980s Flash Gordon DVD comes with some serials, some of the original, like, black and white serials, and I think that's how I saw it years ago. Though I meant to go back and watch some today, and didn't. But
and again, of course,
it's not the most.
We've all seen Star Wars.
Yeah, there's that.
Which is cribbing from it pretty heavily.
Yeah, between Star Wars and 1980 Flash Gordon, that's pretty much it. I feel like oh god, what's his name? The guy who plays Chaotica. I have it. Martin Rayner.
Yes.
Bringing some of that West End theatrical goodness.
Oh yeah, no, him and his henchmen, who had a very Uncle Fester look, like.
Oh yeah.
They both nailed that just 30s villain stuff. They just both ran with it.
They looked like they were having the time of their goddamn lives, and I would too.
Yeah.
Like Chaotica's like electrified death.
Oh yeah,
It's just so over the top. I loved it.
The henchmen with their like helmets with balaclavas, so that you can just have the same three guys appear over and over and have it not be an issue.
And nothing elegant about it. It's just kind of like plop. They're just sitting there on their head, their helmets,
and they're just
a little off to the side.
You know, newer things. Henchmen are big, muscly. But this has that sort of mid-century, like they're kind of out of shape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that dude just like recorded some lines, for radio and came downstairs. And threw on a costume. It's fine.
Yeah.
Not exactly Charles Atlas.
Yeah, so this even the background extras were cast carefully. It feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like in World too, like considering that in World this holodeck program is modeled off of those serials, which would reuse the same actors over and over and over again for the cannon fodder people. You'd know that no matter how long this war went on with the photonic people, that the holodeck would have just kept creating more cannon fodder. Like, there was no way that the photonic life forms were going to win this war without completing the scenario and killing Chaotica in this specific way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Chaotica just had wave after wave of his own men to send after them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The Brannigan Gambit.
Yeah, and like it would have been infinite.
Yeah.
Until the Voyager ran out of power.
Yeah.
Or the photonic beings ran out of people.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually it would have overloaded the system and turned it off.
Now you
Maybe.
Now, although I do feel terrible for the photonic people and this war that was waged on them, I'm now imagining that on their homeworld, whatever in the fifth dimension, wherever they're from, that there is now a statue of Tom Paris
I know.
as like the hero of the Great War against Chaotica.
I loved President of Earth like talking him up and just Doc having so much fun doing it.
And a fairly competent medical aid. Don't tell him I said that.
Yes.
Very cute.
Like in Harry Truman there.
The hat. Yeah, no, perfect.
That was the one thing. It's like, Harry Truman was much later than this.
Did anybody recognize Chaotica's throne?
No.
It was the same throne that we saw in Distant Origin that the Voth people had.
Oh.
They I don't know what they did to it, but I felt very sad for it because it looked much goofier than the one in Distant Origin, which I remember fucking loving.
Yeah, we were very fond of that chair.
But also, according to the book I was reading, it is the chair from Coneheads.
Oh, the leader.
Emperor Cone sits in, or
It's been a
Must
very
be.
long time
Totally
since
must
I've
be.
watched Coneheads.
That's fucking
Narful
funny.
the Garthok.
Yeah.
Speaking of serious space epics.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, the one where the guy chews a condom.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, it's bubblegum.
Yeah. David Spade becomes his advisor.
Yep.
And Tainted Love gets stuck in your head.
Yeah,
So
it
much.
does.
Cool. Well, anything else on Chaotica?
I'm reading through the rest of my notes.
Same. Oh, I have a thought from when Janeway was like, I'm a size 4. And I'm like, this is 24th century. These numbers should have no meaning.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Size 4 means nothing.
It means nothing today because every fucking brand is different.
Everything is different than from country to country.
Also, because in 24 you would just have the computer replicate exactly fitted clothes for your body.
You're
it's a fun throwaway line, but at the same time.
Yeah, my sizes are in the computer under Janeway.
Classified. Bitch.
Yeah, I loved her spider pin in her hair, though. That was
that was
a nice little touch. Very pretty.
The makeup department definitely had fun with this, too. So much contouring.
The collar on her dress was something else. That was fantastic.
Yes.
I do wonder, so I'm sure you've seen in your travels, there's color photographs of like the Munster set.
Yep.
Oh,
like where everything was painted in like very bright colors, like hot pink and things.
Adam's Family too.
Yeah, well, just like all those black and white shows where they
Dark
had
Shadows,
where they because all they had to work with in black and white was just the contrast, so they would have to pick things that had a strong contrast. So I actually wonder if there are any like color photographs of these costumes.
I
there
found
you go.
a picture of Martin Rayner sitting on the throne.
There you go.
Yay! There's that throne.
That's amazing.
See, look, they put like all this they wove like some kind of material
like,
into the throne, like the spokes of it.
Oh yeah,
It's
it's woven in.
Without it, that chair is stunning. With it, it looks like
A 1930s Flash Gordon
it
villain
looks
chair.
like it's made of paper mache.
But at least it looks reversible. It looks like they just kind of threaded it through and then they can just rip it out.
Well, I imagine you can't hurt that chair because people might want that in Coneheads 5.
It's true. The search for more money.
Search for another cone.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, so I always find it fascinating when I see things that are in black and white. Like, I wonder what color that really is.
Yeah. I mean, like when it's if you watch shows that were made during the transition period, like mid to late 60s, so like Dark Shadows comes to mind because I watch it because I wrote Caitlin into watching it with me whenever she's available. But you can see like the candles are a ridiculous color. Like everything's a ridiculous color. My comment usually, like every other episode, is I see who had to wear the green outfit this episode, because there's always someone who's going to be in like neon green, and the backgrounds are like pink or green painted walls, because like these are colors particularly for black and white film, but even just like color film as it shows up on black and white screens. These contrast enough. These like counteract, how, like, especially for older film, how it picks up light, so that it shows up looking good and looking normal. Or you mentioned the monsters.
That's the one that I remember seeing, just a photograph of their set, and it was like crazy colors.
Yeah, but like they can, a lot of the shows that transitioned into color and started making episodes in color were still using those same sets.
It took a little while to switch everything.
So it's really funny when you're sitting there like, this is an ugly living room. What is wrong with these people? Jesus.
No one would live here.
Well, yeah, that's why. So like TOS was specifically made with color in mind. Which is why they have
the red rail and the red clothes.
But the primary colors for the uniforms.
But I wonder if when they were doing that and planning those colors out, if they were conscious of like, we have to make sure that this also looks good in black and white 100%. Because many people don't have color sets yet.
100%. I mean, like, it's basically, it's like, I mean, today it would be filming things in 4K. Mm-hmm. And how many people have 4K at this point? How many people will have 4K in the next few years? How much should we bet on this technology and film in that to that quality? Like don't put stuff that's like too fine that you won't see it on an HD set, but
Well, in the other direction, I remember when HD started to become more and more common, makeup departments had to really change how they were doing things.
Oh my god!
Because it was becoming too obvious that people were wearing makeup.
Whoopsie.
Yeah.
I think especially like some of the biggest adjustments had to be made to like local newscasts.
Oh yeah, where they just put on like an inch thick of foundation
and not have to worry too much about it. And now it's like, we have to be a bit more subtle.
That's why all our newscasters are CGI now. Speaking of, Jake and I finally went and watched Avatar, the first one.
Oh.
And one of Jake's early comments watching was, it is very clear this was made for 3D.
Yeah.
What's the next one? Because it's coming out, if it hasn't come out by the time this episode airs.
Shape of Water.
The Way of
Water.
I only know this because I saw the trailer the other day.
Yeah, The Shape of Water was something.
Oh, yeah, that's
Sex with Doug Jones Fish.
Yeah, fucking Doug Jones Fish Boy.
Doug Jones, he's great no matter what.
First,
have you not watched The Shape of Water?
I've not seen it, no.
Oh, I think it's absolutely worth watching.
Just to swoon over Doug Jones?
There is...
I've seen images, so I know he looks really cool.
There is a cat harmed in one scene.
Son of a bitch. Fuck you, movie.
But it's also, I think, like, one of the few sort of genre films to get Best Picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that.
And I think probably the first one not from, like, some kind of bigger, like
James Cameron.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, Lord of the Rings or... Is that it? If any other genre films won Best Picture?
I don't follow award shows because I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah, I mean they are meaningless toot, but it is still kind of nice when they actually acknowledge something other than a movie about how great movies are.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Those win all the time.
Fucking constantly. It's a joke.
Because everybody likes to have...
Well, like I said, this year, even though no one liked it, they're going to give all the awards to... She Said, so they can claim they've fixed all their sexual harassment problems.
Yeah, we're not sexist anymore. Look, see?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you, Hollywood. Kiss my ass.
Speaking of things we want to kiss, tell us about Tuvok, eh?
Yeah. I'm Chicka Wow Wow.
I found the segue, and it worked.
That's great. All right, yeah, so next up, Gravity. Gravity... Beware the gravity of the situation. So in this adventure of Star Trek, we're on a planet of some kind, the Vasquez Rocks, very bright, very very sunny.
Sets are expensive.
Yes. And we see a figure, a kind of cloaked figure, and moving through this world, looking to like scavenging things.
In a great little bodysuit.
Yeah, cool bodysuit.
She looks great in that.
Then the figure, it's a woman, spoiler alert, comes across a crashed Federation shuttle on which Tom Paris is there. he's like, I got my stuff, and she's like, I'm gonna rob you, but she can't speak English, and their translators are broken, so she just yelling at him in alien language.
Gestures with gun. Oh yes, you're going to rob me.
Which evidently now we know that apparently Tuvok just speaks English when he's talking to people that speak English.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that.
Because it turns out what happened was it's Tom and Tuvok and the Doctor, who's not working right now because his thing broke. They crash landed on this planet and they can't take off. They can't communicate. They went through some kind of interdimensional portal and they're now trapped on this planet. There's some other bad aliens that attack and they're jerks. Long story short, we befriend the scavenger alien. Her name is Nos, played by Lori Petty of Tank Girl fame. Anybody?
And A League of Their Own.
A League of Her Own.
I've seen none of these.
Well,
I hear great things about Tank Girl though. So
Tank Girl is terrible.
she's real. Like, it's got a cult following.
No, it's a cult. It's a cult.
Yeah.
Cult classic. It's a terrible movie, but it's fun.
the
It's a
best
fun.
kind.
It's a fun, terrible movie. Lori Petty's great. She was also in that show we watched, Station 11. She was in that. Yeah, but she's great, and she has been great for a very long time. Anywho, yeah. So we're on this planet, and outside of, up in space, Voyager's still tooling around, and they're like, boy, Tom and Tuvok were supposed to call by if they were going to be in after 11, but they haven't, so maybe we should check it out. And then they find this portal to the other dimension, like, this is like a bad thing. Yeah, and we find out that time inside this portal on this planet where our heroes are trapped is passing much, much faster than it's passing outside. So while they've only been gone for like a day or two on the planet, it's felt like months that they've been trapped here.
Eating crabs.
Or like spider crabs. They're monsters.
Queen Arachnia's people.
This is like Arachnia's planet.
Genocide.
But yeah, they befriend Nos. Somehow they teach her English, or a fair amount of it.
Yeah, she learns quick.
Very quick. I mean, they were only there for 2 months, and she's basically fluent. She falls in love with Tuvok.
Bad choice.
Bad choice. Oh yeah.
Great
Also,
choice.
like in kind of B plot, sort of like flashbacky thing. There's this whole how Tuvok got his groove back scene where
How Tuvok got his groove taken away.
how Tuvok lost his groove. And it's basically flashbacks to him. He was an angry, emotional, passionate child. And he gets sent to Vulcan Reform School where...
With Joe Ruskin!
Yeah.
He's excellent!
Where they...
He was he's on the poster from TOS, the Gamester, from the Gamester planet.
Oh! Yes! Okay,
We see a lot of him in Trek.
Thank you. Okay.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, sorry, continue.
So he's there and he's teaching young Tuvok how to not get a boner, basically, right? Like... You shouldn't like ladies because that's not Vulcan.
I assume he's also probably in an arranged marriage at some point.
Yeah, probably. That's
don't look. You've already got this taken care of. You've got one in the can somewhere.
He fell in love with someone that was not allowed,
and not Vulcan.
And too emotional.
And Tuvok. Yeah, so at first he's kind of like a little bitchy towards his new teacher, but then over time he becomes fully repressed. And that's how he is now. And like when Nos, who is like, I love you, he's like, well, I appreciate that you feel that way.
I respect you.
Yeah, I respect your opinion.
That's it.
So yeah, he's having none of it, but she puts a kiss on him anyway, and it's a little awkward. The alien monsters attack just as Voyager manages to make contact with them through the portal. And they're like, and Voyager's like, listen, we can't log on to you because, it's a time. So just be at this place at 10 minutes from now, our time. And,
2 days from now, your time.
And
just hang out there all day.
Yeah, and then they're like under constant attack for 2 days. Meanwhile, there's the same aliens that are attacking them on the planet, while their friends in space are trying to close the portal forcibly, and they're like, and Voyager's like, no, please don't. And they're like, no, we're doing it anyway.
Fuck this portal, it ate my family.
Yeah, and like, Janeway's like, should I like shoot them or do something to stop? Nah.
But also the portal is becoming unstable at the same time, which seemed like an overkill element to add to the script.
I don't know what's going on with that.
We have to shut down the portal, but it's gonna break no matter what. So we have to do this now and things.
It's just a rough couple weeks for Subspace.
Yeah, Subspace ain't going great. So yeah, but Anyway, they all manage to get rescued, including Nos. The aliens that are stuck on the planet, they're just there. They're going to get crushed when the portal collapses, so
that's fine.
Rip. And then they take Nos back to her homeworld in voiceover, which I was like, that's all we're going to get on the ship is this? But we do get a, what?
Mind meld.
Oh, yeah. I was getting to that. So we get back to Nos's homeworld, and she has an not emotional goodbye with Tuvok, in which he...
Guess who's who?
He makes his most passionate gesture yet and does a mind meld with her, which I feel like consent is weird in that. Like, obviously it worked out okay, but like... Yeah. It's like, you don't just mind meld somebody. You're like, hey, I'm going to do this thing. If you're cool with it, it's going to be weird, but trust me, it'll work. And, you
get to see my mind penis.
But yeah, they do a mind meld.
Like Demolition Man.
And she basically learns to be Vulcan, or at least learns like why Tuvok is the way he is.
It's not just an excuse when he says it's nothing personal. Like, really, it's nothing personal.
Yeah, it's like, just for your reference, this was I gave you the most emotion I've had, and here's proof.
Yeah, exactly. So she leaves, and it's a little sad because it's like, Tuvok, he's got much going for him in that department, and Tom's kind of a bitch earlier. He's like, your wife's you're never going to see your wife again, Tuvok.
I don't want to live vicariously through your penis.
Yeah. So, there you go.
When baby Tuvok was angry, his cadence reminded me a lot of when Nog would get angry.
Huh.
Ooh.
Like, he didn't, vocally they didn't sound that much alike, but there was they would put their stressors in similar places.
I see what you mean. Yeah. I see it.
I thought young Tuvok made for a pretty good Tuvok.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sure how I felt about the framing device. Like, I just don't know that there was... there should have either been more of it or none at all. Because I just feel like there was scene A, he's gotten there. Scene B, love is tricky. Scene 3, I'm good now.
Yeah.
And I was like, was it? It felt less like it was necessary, especially since he, adult Tuvok explains which makes sense, of course. Tom is not watching the flashbacks with us. But it's still, as an audience, it's redundant to have him explain what we already know. So it's just like... Was this necessary, or did the episode run short?
I feel like it should have been more central to the story in general, or not at all.
Exactly. I'm with you. It felt like when they opened with it, it was like, okay, so this is going to be really into... Nope, it is not.
Yeah, no, there's some other problem, and Tuvok happens to have someone crushing on him.
Yeah, and so it just felt like it lacked focus, the episode.
I feel like this...
Of that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the Tuvok learning to be Vulcan could have been good if it was a bigger part of a different episode.
Or if, we've seen, and we will see, so much like Stranded on a World within issue episodes, that didn't need to be the main point. That could have been in the background more. Like, I was expecting, maybe his training is going to start to break down, and he's going to be like, maybe Tom is right, and I should just fucking chill. But there didn't really ever seem to be much conflict with adult Tuvok. He was like, nope. Still me.
Yeah, this is...
Sticking to his guns.
This is why I'm like this. You can see why I'm like this.
So, yeah.
I mean, I didn't hate it watching it, but I see how it could have been better.
I didn't dislike it, but I was just like...
I think I was just so happy to see Joseph Ruskin, so it's like, yay!
Fair. But yeah, just sitting there just kind of like... Yeah, no, I guess, it was just like, again, it wasn't a bad episode, but it was like,
It was nice, it's content that I was happy to see, but why here?
Yeah, it's like, it's not bad, it's not great. I'll probably not remember it within a few weeks,
Because just seeing, like, the one-on-one tutoring, I'd suddenly, like, it made me think and have interest and ask questions about world building and about Vulcan culture and the idea of, what was talking about emotions, to deny their existence is illogical, but you must learn to control them. Like, okay, so we've seen that concept at work before, and suddenly I'm thinking, well, I wonder what other schools of thought there are among Vulcans, and I bet that's in the book somewhere or something. But like, I want to hear more about this. Let's go into more, and then we're on the rock again. Okay, fine, let's just get on with it. And then back to the flashback scenes. I'm like, I want to keep on that. Like, if it were more a philosophical episode as opposed to get off the planet episode.
Yeah, again, that could have been happening in the background. I didn't need to watch Tom try to kill a spider.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crap.
Well, I also feel like the way Tuvok handles the situation with Nos, right, like up until the end with the mind meld, I feel like he's just kind of a dick to her a lot of the time. Like, and he could have explained his situation more, perhaps.
I don't know. I've done that. Oh, a boy likes me, but I don't want him to, so I'm going to turn into a massive bitch until he goes away.
Yeah, but I don't feel like that's the thing that Tuvok... I feel like Tuvok would have... Like, I didn't get
the... way older than a high schooler.
Yeah. I just don't get the impression that he would not explain the whole situation up front.
Yeah, that's why I think it would have been a little more interesting if maybe he was struggling more with it. Like, I would even understand his being like that if part of it was like, maybe he does kind of want to give in. And who knows, maybe he does, but the episode doesn't show us enough.
Yeah.
So he's like, kind of like, just as much, you know, it would have been more interesting to watch him actually deal with that. And we know Tim Russ can do it. Yeah. And we know Tim Russ understands Vulcan. Probably Vulcan's the best since Nimoy.
Yeah.
Like,
I think my impression is that the intent is that Tuvok does seem to be in danger of reciprocating feelings.
Right.
Or does reciprocate, rather, but cannot, but it has to keep it suppressed and under control.
Yeah.
But you're right, like, they didn't... That's a needle to thread.
Yeah,
and I really carefully with a Vulcan, with a Vulcan's range of emotions as a character, and I don't think they got it.
They didn't give him enough to do with it, really.
Mm-hmm. No,
like the only sign we really have, like the closest to kind of a big moment is when he's like, you know, I couldn't leave you behind or whatever.
Yeah,
which is like that's a big fucking deal for Tuvok.
And the very last scene, like in that last moment when, you know, Tom clears Neelix and crewman out of the room there.
Yeah.
And they have their last heart-to-heart, and there's that, like, pregnant moment between them. Like, my brain for a second was like, wait a second, I know this visual language. He's not about to kiss her. And then the hand goes up for the mime. I'm like, oh, good enough. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
Because it's an extremely intimate sort of thing for a Vulcan to do.
I thought, oh, he's going to kiss her. He's kind of doing the equivalent.
He's Vulcan kissing her.
Yep.
And there, like, had there just been a little bit more build-up that we could see.
Yeah.
Like, it was all internal. Which is fine, except we as the audience can't see that.
Yeah.
No.
And if you don't, you know, if you haven't sat there and watched everything up to this point like we have, it's like, you know, it doesn't stand as well on its own if you don't already know Tuvok really well. And again, it seems a shame to deny letting Tim Russ play with that in a more open manner.
Yeah. Tim Russ was the one that suggested concluding it with mind meld. Like, she was just going to go, I guess.
I mean, I think that's a fine way to end it. Although, I as I said, I do think it was a little... I feel like with mind melds, there's got to be...
You gotta ask first.
There's got to be some communication before it happens. Like, you can't just go in, you know...
I guess, like, it's sort of... Because when she kissed him, too, and then kept trying to kiss him.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like... Dude is severely injured and recovering right now. This is not a good time to take advantage of this, honey. And I feel like it's like that old school style storytelling. Just like there's that impulsive connection between them that she feels, and so she's going to do it. And we're not supposed to consider it problematic, but with an understanding that we have culturally of consent now, that don't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't do that without asking first. And I think that it was the same energy that carried over into the mind meld of like that was the equivalent of the impulsive grabbing her for a kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and we've talked, like, mind melds are always violating. Like, we
Vulcans
talked about, like
Valaris
issues and things
like
that.
Well, it's always supposed to, like, usually when it comes up, right, it's a last resort option. It's there is another option, we can attempt this to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that... But it's something that we've seen so, like, Tuvok just resorts to it so much more often.
He does.
Yeah.
Oh, I forget if this was on the list of things you mentioned Nos was in, but Caitlin recognized her from Free Willy.
Oh, really?
Jesus Christ.
I don't
She
know if
is
I've ever
apparently
seen
Willie's trainer. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so.
Yeah, me neither.
She's also in Orange is the New Black.
That's right. That was the other big one I was trying to think of.
I haven't seen that either.
And I've never seen Tank Girl. Have you?
Yeah, I've seen Tank Girl. Many, many years ago. So
Same.
It's like a 80s post-apocalyptic cult movie, right?
It's not even, I think it's 90s.
90s. It's 90s.
Based off a comic book, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, based on a comic, but like the thing, it's just like it's very B movie.
Yeah.
The thing I remember about it is it's fucking loud. It's like it's just the sound mix on it is terrible. But yeah.
She was good. It was funny though. There's more, especially when it's early on and she's still kind of learning English. I just looked at Caitlin and went, "Oh, Lilo Dallas multipass."
Yeah, pretty much. Well, yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, maybe her species is just very good at picking up language.
Maybe, yeah.
You know, we've seen things like that before.
I mean, Tuvok communicates with her almost instantly.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just Tuvok who's real good at teaching someone a language. Or
maybe there was an off-screen earlier mind meld where he just taught her English.
Maybe.
Jesus.
See, well, I assume that the doctor was involved because the doctor could speak her language. But,
True.
Because his translator wasn't broken.
But yeah, I did think it was interesting, like, that apparently Tuvok just speaks English. I mean, I guess, why wouldn't he, though? I don't know. Like,
why would you learn any other languages when you've got the translator?
That's what I've always figured. It's like, well, if you always are going to have a translator, then why bother learning?
Because you don't always have a translator.
So I wonder if, like, in Starfleet, if one of the Starfleet classes is English, and, like, English is the official language. Or maybe it's not even... It's
basic. It's basic.
We hear English, but maybe there is some Federation standard language.
It must be English, though, because whenever they go back in time...
Oh, yeah, they make English puns.
And that they talk to, like,
that's true.
natives, and like, the natives definitely don't have translators.
Yeah.
So like, you know, Kirk talks to people in the 80s, Data talks to people in the 1880s, like... Right.
And they make jokes that only work in English, like the sun thing from Bread and Circuses.
Angels and Ministers of Grace defend us.
Yeah, but those people wouldn't have been speaking English anyways. They would have been speaking Latin.
No, but parallel development or whatever. That fucking episode.
But, yeah, so I'm going to assume that, like, Starfleet officers just know English, and that's just a thing.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of semi-confirmed if we assume that.
I feel like if anyone is, you know, even if it's not a requirement, if anyone is going to do it, it's the Vulcans. Because no one trusts humans less, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, even baby Tuvok and his teacher were speaking English. Joking. Because the scenes were in English.
Oh, is that what it was?
They weren't subtitled.
Oh my god.
Have they ever actually, like, codified rules for Vulcan? Because I know when it first appeared in the movies, it was literally just taking English dialogue and putting it through, like, a mixing board. Like, you can even see them speaking the English that you see in the subtitles if you look closely. Like,
really? Yeah. I thought like Savacum and all and like that.
Yeah, no, that literally at least in 1 and 2, they spoke English and then somebody chopped it up and shuffled it around.
Oh. See, I thought I didn't think they had like a proper linguistic set of rules, but I would have thought that at least in 2 when Savik and Spock are talking.
It was nonsense.
Oh,
and again, if you look at their mouths, they are just straight up saying what the subtitles say.
Oh, that's fun.
So I don't know if they eventually, because I know Klingon obviously is
its own language,
crazy in depth. Although well, he came up with it's another thing. He came up with the first Klingon.
Yeah.
Like the random lines, and then the person that actually wrote it all down for, I think 3 was when they codified it. He had to start with what Doohan had done and kind of build from there.
Yep.
I don't know if Vulcan has ever gotten that treatment.
Maybe not.
I think they
I see a lot of people get Vulcan tattoos of
Vulcan script.
Yeah, they've made it, and I don't know if this is anything official or if it's like just a generally agreed upon fan language or what.
Yeah, well, like Star Wars has their own script.
Arabesh.
But it's literally just a swap in cipher for the which like if you watch the pre-special editions, it was just English. Yeah, and I remember that was a thing that they went back and replaced the labels on things with their fancy script.
Their fancy heaters. So I thought like the little subspace pocket, neat. I wrote down, ooh, subspace pocket, neat. Ooh, with temporal distortion. Neat.
It's like Interstellar, I guess. I've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
There's temporal distortion.
There's a temporal distortion. There's a planet in Interstellar where it's like 1 minute on the planet is 7 years.
Holy
or
shit.
Something
yeah.
So like they visit the planet and they left a guy up on the ship And then when they return to the ship, the guy's like, I've been here for 30 years, you pieces of shit. I thought you all died, and I'm stuck here.
Oh, God, I didn't know
And he was
that.
a little crazy.
See, they go to the planet, they go back up, and Winds of Winter still isn't out.
That's right.
Nope. No, I thought it was a good little device, because I know we've complained before, like, you needed time for such and such to happen. Like, I think it was in the one where...
prison... the chute.
The chute, yeah, when Paris and Harry are in that prison and they have their whatsits in their neck and they can't escape and their spirits are crushed immediately.
Yeah. Because of the whatsit in the neck.
Because of the whatsit in the neck.
Because they didn't have time.
Yeah, when really, like, that was their substitute for this is what would have happened over time. Like, their spirits would be crushed over time.
Yeah.
And I think this episode was like, but we need the time because... Nos falling in love with Tuvok in a day is silly.
Yeah.
Well, too much.
And Tuvok being tempted at all just makes no sense.
No.
I think it should have been longer, is my thing. I think it should have been not 2 months, but like maybe a year.
Tom gives up pretty fast.
Yeah.
Like, he gives up faster than Chaotica did in Resolution. It's like, well, we live here forever now. This is your life, Tuvok.
Disney will start building a new
Tom's still a little grumpy from the demotion.
Yeah, well,
That's what I'm thinking.
Like, I would have bought it if it had been longer. I would have bought the falling in love. I would have bought the learning English. I wouldn't have bought the why aren't there hair or beards growing.
I mean, that's...
Radiation on the planet.
So, what the episode where Tom's in the brig?
30 days.
Sure, yeah. There we go.
He barely grows a beard.
But he was like...
But Harry's like, you should go shave or whatever.
First. Yeah, I think Tuvok says it.
Well, they only have a week to film the show, so the most... of a beard he can grow is a week's beard.
So my head, I didn't even see it. I didn't even see that, but maybe because he was too blonde for me to see it. But after that, I'm like, you know what? Headcanon, they have hair growth suppressants for that purpose.
See, some angry internet dude, let's say Joe Rogan, would be like, it's because by the future it's all beta males. Well, the alphas were wiped out. They're all low T.
Well, we have seen them using like mini phaser type deal for razor blades.
Yeah,
so maybe they do just shave all the time.
I mean, here's the thing. I've said it before. Like, half the reason I just don't shave is because I have yet good razors, bad razors. I inevitably cut myself. If I could be guaranteed to not lacerate my face, better chance I wouldn't have a beard.
Oh God, even with an electric, that's gotta hurt.
I once even managed to cut myself just trimming with an electric. I think it's because it caught like a zit.
You have sensitive face.
Apparently, it's very annoying.
So
you need that alum.
So aristocratic. Just need to get you a barber with a straight razor.
I've been using IPL, which is shining with flashing light at your skin until the hair dies.
Interesting.
Does it work?
Want to feel my leg?
Kinda.
I did it this morning.
Oh, feel your leg.
Oh, you can do it at home?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I need to know about this technology.
I get ads for it on Facebook all the time now because I got one.
Now I'm just thinking.
Now they give you the ads since you bought it. Now
of course. Now that it's useless.
Now it's like, here's all the other kinds you can't get. I'm like, I already got one. Shut up.
So it's like when Superman shaves, where he just they have.
Oh yeah.
At least once in the cartoon, I think even in the comics, he shaves by shooting himself in the face with his laser vision
through the mirror.
Yeah, he laser visions the mirror and just like. So it's like what Ames is doing with a tiny phaser razor.
I'm surprised his hair isn't invulnerable.
Well, I think that's why they say he has to.
He has to do it with his own.
Why? If he tried it with scissors, the scissors would break.
Yeah, like the razor wouldn't work. That's why he has to laser his face.
With the Kryptonian power of the X-ray vision, or not laser vision.
Having said all that though, you know what though? If anyone on Voyager is not using a simple phaser razor, it's Tom.
That's
He's
true.
got a strop to sharpen the fucking thing. Like, he does it super old school. B'Elanna just sits there and rolls her eyes at him.
But here's the thing, because, it's just because he's a fan and he's not actually, he never learned how to use that.
Oh, yeah.
Always got freaking...
Oh, it's awful.
That's why he became the medic. Just so he could use the dermal regenerator every day to fix his shaving.
Well, he's just pinched one at this point. He shaves and then regenerates his face.
Yep.
Now I'm just picturing him pull a Kevin McAllister with the aftershave.
Yeah, speaking Speaking of B'Elanna, like Tom brings up something interesting at the end that maybe Jake's idea of the time being a much longer difference would have been more interesting, because he says, for me, it was 2 months without B'Elanna, and I assumed we were never going to see each other again. And for B'Elanna, it was 2 days, and she didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
She didn't notice I was gone.
Yeah, it'd be something interesting to explore, but we're not gonna. Also, let's be honest, we already had a better version of that with poor old Chief O'Brien and his
Miles.
pretend prison sentence.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's very similar. Or like Inner Light is another kind of similar situation.
Yeah.
But again, it's very much shorter in this case. Because they're only there for 2 months, which again, I feel like isn't long enough for a lot of the things that they talk about.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Are all Vulcans vegetarians? Because I feel like they kind of... I know Spock definitely was. I don't know if all Spocks are. All Vulcans are. Because what has Tuvok been eating if we mostly have been eating spider crabs?
Here's the thing. They might be vegetarians, but they're also logical pragmatists. So he was eating spiders. Whether he was a vegetarian or not, he was eating
that
spiders.
was the most logical
This is
source
what we
of
have.
nutrients.
Yeah.
I think when there's when the options are there, they will be.
Yeah.
But they are realistic and understand that it's,
Yeah, well, I mean, I imagine, like, the Vulcan thinking on it is something along the lines of, it is illogical to kill another creature for your nutrition when you don't have to. Like, there's no logic in cooking
Enslaving animals,
cooking a steak because that cow would still be alive and I could just eat a replicated steak or or a salad or whatever.
Yeah, well, I think they generally at this point they just don't even eat replicated meat because they already culturally they're vegetarian.
They don't have
so
a
it's
taste
just
for it.
Yeah, they're not missing anything.
But yeah, when it's the only option available, what are you going to do? I'm not going to die because I didn't eat the steak, didn't eat the spider, Plus, spiders are fucking icky, and let's get rid of them.
That was some decent CG on that spider.
Yeah, it was. I was has there been a remaster of Voyager? Or is that the original CG?
No, that's the original.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Yeah, their CG the past season and a half has really stepped up.
Pretty solid.
Compared to
Considering
some of
how
that
it is.
early DS9 CG. Ooh. Boy, they meant well. But...
That was right.
How much of Babylon 5 have you seen?
Oh, yeah.
Rough.
I guess they had more money for CG because there's so much more going on that takes place just on the ship.
Well, also, Babylon 5 is older than this. At this point, where are we? 98, 99?
99.
Yeah.
So that's... I feel like it's pretty... It looks
Tonight
good.
they're gonna
It
party.
looks good because, in our minds, we're still thinking this is contemporaneous with...
Reboot.
Yeah. But this is actually... this is closer to, this is after Star Wars Episode 1, or around the same time.
Oh,
so
true.
It's,
Yeah,
so
that was 97.
So CG's actually...
It's gotten better, but to see decent stuff on TV was
it's
still...
still pretty good.
Where the budgets are way less.
They also, I noticed
less
that
time.
they only showed the shot. There were specific shots of the spider, but they didn't composite it with the actors at all.
No.
So,
you see Paris chasing nothing.
Nothing, and it's very obvious he's chasing nothing.
And Caitlin pointed out, it was the same crawling out from under a rock every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
But still, I'll give it to him.
Yeah, they did one good rock scene. Good for them.
And then they had the rubber one.
Yes.
That was dead.
Yeah, which even that didn't look bad.
No, it didn't.
That's a cool little prop.
Yeah, a little puppet.
And it,
Okay, here's another entirely mad question. How many layers of clothing are Starfleet officers wearing? Because they had various. Because we see Tuvok with his normal jacket. Underneath the jacket was the grayish turtleneck, which we saw him have zipped open with nothing beneath. You got to see some nice Tim Russ chest. He's a handsome man. Later on, he's in a tank top, which must have been under the turtleneck. But you see Paris without the jacket, and he's just got a t-shirt on. And not a tank top.
Tuvok's got Tank Girl's tank top. No, I'm going to say that
Tuvok dresses in more layers than Tom.
Well, I think we know from DS9, although that was a runabout, but we'll assume with shuttles too, that shuttles have emergency clothing on them. So there's probably
I didn't think of that.
additional sets of clothes and jackets and whatever you might need.
They must fucking stink.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Woof.
It's also just possible to assume that, as long as you're wearing your proper uniform and shirt, they don't care what your
Right.
undershirt is. It could be a t-shirt, it could be a tank top.
Right.
It could be pasties.
Yeah. So
And-
Frankie says relax.
Yeah, and something that occurred to me at the very last shot of Tuvok in this episode is that, man, for all their talk of, like, logical efficiency, Vulcans love fancy clothes.
Oh, his robe is the
Hyper-specialized
best.
tools for everything. It's so unnecessary. All these unnecessary things for ritual and for meditating, for all this stuff, and look at that fancy-ass purple robe. So, like, if he's gonna wear more layers, he's gonna wear more layers, and that's probably a nice designer tank top.
Tim Russ looks great in purple.
He looks
does.
great in everything.
Well, that's true, but they put him in purple a lot, and he always suits him so well.
Yeah, he's got cool undertones to his complexion, so it comes out just, purple looks real good.
There was a very beautiful scene on Planet of him meditating in, like, front of the sun. He was, like, backlit. Really pretty scene.
Yeah. Golden hour. Or dawn, who knows? But yes, you're right. They do clearly put a lot of pride, not that they would admit it, into their textiles.
They love it. Those fancy bitches.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I thought this was a decent episode.
Yeah,
I liked a lot of it. I think it could have been better.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see more, like we talked about,
Yeah.
more struggle with Tuvok.
Yeah, and you seem to like Nos.
I like Nas. I like Lori Petty. I think she did a really good job. I like
the energy she brought to
it's
it.
hard to do the Lilu Dallas multipass thing
Yeah.
and do it
the,
well.
the progression that she made was good.
Yeah.
And by the end, on ship, I'm sure she's just speaking with the universal translator.
Oh, yeah.
That's
on,
what I was
and you
assuming.
could tell it was different.
Completely.
The tones are different.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't like when she's on the planet and she's talking. It's it's sort of slow
what is
and
the word for
deliberate.
this?
And
Yeah.
she uses.
Damn it.
Yeah, and like you can. There was a point where she used like the word, I think, fascinating, which is a Tuvok word.
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
can tell that was just a word that she picked up from him.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, I like when she didn't have the words, she would get frustrated and use her own language words.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I bring it up because I know Den of Geek ranked her as the 8th best Voyager guest star.
Yeah, very nice.
And no, I liked her, so.
Yeah, I thought she did a good job.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Liz?
Well, I was going to say in terms of the progression of learning language, what was a nice touch is that she had certain linguistic inflection that she was using in Nas's native language that she kept particularly pronounced in the early stages of her learning English.
Oh, that's
like
interesting.
like her inflections were still keeping that, to the quote unquote native inflections
I
of her
wonder
language.
if they brought in like a dialect coach for those kinds of
I would
things.
hope so. I would assume they just have a whole Rolodex full of them for Star Trek.
Yeah, because they do so often.
Yeah, and they have to teach people Klingon and shit. But, to teach someone to speak English as if you are just learning English, but also learning your I don't think we know her race, but we know whatever her language is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of fascinating. Fascinating.
The one thing I'd like, so I feel like Lori Petty, one of her signatures is her short hair.
Yeah.
Like everything I've seen her in anyway, she's always got short hair like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that she looks kind of like and has a similar voice to and the haircut of Nana Visitor.
I would say her voice is much more distinctive, but yeah, I see the overall vibe definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she definitely. I think she has a much higher register than Nana, but yeah, it was because like there was 2 seconds when I was watching, so I'm like, is that Nana?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, it's not. It's Lori Petty.
Yeah, I had the same. And then the more I looked at her eyes, like, no, I know those eyes. And then she opened her mouth, like, oh, son of a bitch.
I know that mouth.
Oh, Malcolm McDowell's in Tank Girl.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's
yeah.
right.
Well, now we can watch it as a Star Trek connection.
There you go.
Weird. There was one line she gives when she's asking Tuvok all these questions, and he's like, Why are you asking me so many questions? God damn it, I'm sick of you already. And she says, because it is you. And I thought that was so cute.
Yeah.
Good work.
Vulcans
Good work,
are bad
Lori
at
Petty.
small talk. Worse than me, really.
Yeah, last note that I wrote down, because I know this was losing his name, Sagan's kid.
Oh.
Nick
Sagan was one of the writers on this episode, and he says one of the ideas that spawned this episode was just like the phrase "emotion creates its own logic," which is a nice little thought, a nice little Star Trek-y thought.
That's what I want to know about that. Suddenly, I'm interested in Vulcan culture because I want to know what everyone else's approaches are to emotions.
You got to wait for Enterprise because there's a ton of Vulcan shit in Enterprise.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Yeah,
and some of it's really good.
Yeah.
Some of it's really good.
Some of it makes you go, yeah, no, most of you guys are actually assholes.
Some of it's like, Fucking Nero was right, man.
Oh God!
Like, yeah, you look at them and you're just like, oh, a lot of the Vulcans we've met are the exceptions. You people are dicks. You're the worst.
One more note.
Sure. Yes, do it.
I'm a doctor, not a battery.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of things that run on batteries, the holodeck.
Hey.
I don't know if that's a good segue. But
That's
what
why
do you
they
guys think?
couldn't
holograms.
shut it down.
Yes, they have
Yeah.
20 AAAs.
There we go.
So we saw lots of good holodeck action this week. We've seen lots of holodeck action throughout the shows. A lot on TNG, so much. We're going to see some more now, and we're going to talk about it as well, because we're going to talk about different holodeck programs, like just individual programs that we liked. So I think a while ago we talked about holodeck action when Justice was here, and we were talking about different Star Trek tech that we'd like. And I think we decided holodecks are great, but we're fine at the moment. But are we really? Do we want holodecks, and what would you guys play in the holodeck?
So I asked Caitlin.
Yeah.
If she had anything before I left. And her exact phrasing is...
Just send this to me.
And if I'm ever injured in combat and need to get my life back together, I would love to have an extended stay at Vic Fontaine's.
Aww.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, Vic is great. I mean, some of his episodes are garbage. Some of them are okay.
Would you want to go to his nightclub?
No. I mean, I mean, I wouldn't go to Vegas to a nightclub there, so I don't see any reason to go to Vic's. Like, you know.
I mean, I would go for, like, if I wanted, like, some nice classic cocktails, dinner, dressing up, an excuse to dress up in, in fancy clothes, and enjoy, like, some crooner standards for an evening. Yeah, I'd go. I wouldn't spend all of my time there, but like it would be like which restaurant do you want to go to? Yeah, let's go to Rat Pack restaurant.
Yeah, it's like, I guess, I could say as a diversion.
I don't know. If I could pick any different restaurant to go to, then I mean,
I'd go to the Taco Bell holodeck program.
If I'm
The Demolition Man specifically.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
if I'm in the mood to be called Pally a lot.
When is that? when Chris is sick with the flu.
Yes.
Yeah, call me whatever you want.
That's I think what it comes down to. I'm really not super interested in 60s Vegas, but I'm fascinated by self-aware hologram Vic. The best counselor in Star Trek history.
I mean, that's the thing, though. Like, most of the holodeck programs that we see
them because they've gone horribly, horribly wrong.
Well, yes, and also there's just like, I'm kind of in agreement with Janeway. It's like, this is how you spend your time?
Okay, but again, she's spending her time in
I know. I would say the same thing to her. Yeah.
Oh, although I guess I have to say, non-malfunctioning Bashir's Bond program.
I figured you'd like
That's
that.
pretty
100%.
fun. That's a fun one.
Well, it's really more in like Flint than Bond, but that's splitting hairs.
You know what I think would be a cool holodeck program that they don't do? Would be You Are Godzilla.
Ooh,
Yes.
You know?
yeah.
Like,
That would be great.
That would be cathartic.
wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
That's a little like Katamari Damacy.
Yeah, but you like the thing is you have like actual little tiny holodeck critters, people, running
And you
around,
smush them?
and you. In video games, just fucking shit up is like half the fun.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
I feel like the fact that they don't do that on the holodeck, it's just
Yeah,
shocking to me.
They mostly either do like sports, like there's a whole list on Memory Alpha. It goes on for fucking days. And they're in categories like they play a lot of sports, they visit places that are pretty and like watch the sunset, or they play out holo novels. And that's I think the three biggies that they do are those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Or like recreations of like the Alamo, like recreations of things from history. They'll do a lot.
Battles.
Yeah.
I would not want to do a
Yeah,
battle.
No, I'm not interested in battles.
That's the thing. I wouldn't want to do like a holo novel. It's like, I don't want to just act out a story I already know. I want to interact with something I can affect.
But if it's a create your own adventure and that kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
And that
I
seems
get
to
the
be how they
impression.
are.
Yeah.
It varies though. Like when Geordi and Data were in Sherlock Holmes, they were just doing the existing stories.
That's
And it's like,
true.
what's the point?
We already know
but
the answer.
I feel like that's also because, and they kind of make the point of it in that episode, is that Data isn't creative. So he doesn't know how to do his own Sherlock Holmes story. He only knows how to do the ones that are already programmed.
I suppose that.
Which is why, like,
that makes
in that
sense.
episode,
they create life with a few simple commands.
Well, the whole point of it was that, Data knows how this fucking thing ends because he's done it 1,000 times and he knows who the killer is. And Geordi's like, well, where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
And that's how they created Moriarty.
I mean, it's comparable to video games, right? Like you have your sandboxy games, and you have your games where it's just a string of cutscenes,
and
then everything in between.
Your QuickTime event games,
like
Telltale games.
I remember the first time I played a Final Fantasy game because I heard this is an RPG game. You'll like RPGs. An RPG game for me at that point, aside from pen and paper tabletop role playing games, was like Baldur's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
There were story points to go and hit and advance the story, but I could just go around and talk to a weird wizard in the woods.
Yeah, you went from CRPG to JRPG, and those are very different things.
Completely different, and I had no idea until I played. I was like, why can't I go do other things? Why do I have to do this thing? And I'm stuck with it.
On rails.
What are the C and the J?
Computer versus Japanese RPG.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
See, I thought of a good example of holodeck program that's it's interesting because it's going to be different every time you play it, and that's Seska's Mutiny program.
Yes, I have that jotted down.
And that one's a lot like a video game, right?
Yeah, I think that would be a kind of interesting one. A, because it's different every time you play it. It learns with you about what thing you're doing.
And then it nearly kills you.
Yeah, TBD if I'd play it with or without the Seska expansion. But also, I think it's actually kind of cool that it is the people on the ship, so it would be people that you know.
Yeah.
That's almost interesting because it's like
plugging your friends into The Sims.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes, that's exactly right.
But what I loved about it was that everyone was playing it. And so they're all just sort of like, it's like anytime like a new BioWare game would come out, right? And then you and I or anyone else are comparing like what choices you make. If you went Paragon or Renegade, if you did this thing, if you punched this person in the face. It had but it was all familiar enough, but you had like your little fun choices to make and compare. Yeah. But then with the added bonus of it's your friends in The Sims.
Yeah. Am I going to side with Janeway today, or am I going to not side with Janeway today?
And then you get to have that little humorous interaction, like, I rebelled against you today.
Actually, could be a decent one is the French Resistance program from the Hirogen episode there. Again, I'd like to know who I am while I'm in it.
Yeah.
That could be good.
Yeah, I mean, punching Nazis is always
a good
pastime.
Nice, yeah. A little bit of intrigue if you want to do some underground spy work.
As a big fan of Arthurian legend, I would love to have been there when Kira punched Lancelot.
Yeah, he had that coming.
He did so much. Oh God.
When I looked up, the list of holo programs, holo novels, and everything we've seen, I realized I would be a holo novel person 100% because it's very much like an RPG game. Mm-hmm. And I'd been reminded that in TNG we saw Three Musketeers.
Yes,
the one thing I will agree with Barkley on is yes, it would be fun as hell to play Three Musketeers.
Oh yeah.
That is already over the top and good times.
Yeah. Stop there though. The sequels are depressing as fuck.
Yeah, especially with the safeties on, because then no one can stab you with a thing.
Yeah, no. I would in fact want to make sure. I would want to add the mod that makes a boing. Oh, with one exception to the things I've jotted down that I would like. Crusher 4, Dr. Crusher's dance studio. I'm like, that would be a great place to. I would totally have a dance holo program.
Oh, that's cool.
To go and get my exercise in.
Yeah, there were a couple of those kinds of things. As I also looked through the list, and a couple stuck out to me. There was the Cardassian Napping on Rocks program.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that Zial and Garrick did.
I would totally go sun myself on a rock.
Hang out on those rocks.
I forgot that was a holodeck.
Yeah, that looks really nice.
Yeah,
and also I know none of you would be interested in this. Maybe Liz might. There was a rock climbing program.
Oh yeah, no, I'm too acrophobic.
That Picard's fake son did, and it's like I just climb bullshit in the woods, and none of it is that vertical, but going and doing that somewhere where I can't hurt myself.
That's the thing.
I was about to say, I'm curious to know why you think I would be interested in climbing rocks to high heights.
You're very strong, Liz.
Oh,
I think you could help me get up the rocks.
That's until I have a panic attack when I look down.
I was saying, that's the thing I wonder. I wonder if, because on the one hand, I know I'm safe. On the other hand, it is the ultimate in hyper-realism. So I kind of wonder if the reality of the holodeck would override my logic. Mm-hmm. And I'd be like, would I still be acrophobic?
That is an interesting question.
That is interesting.
Is it so real that I'm like, okay, I know if I let go, I'll be fine because the program will stop me. But it's all so real that I just be like, nope.
Yeah.
You could have it like cartoonify, maybe, I bet.
That's what I would probably do. I'd probably do that and then also apply my usual method of learning how to play a video game, which is trial and error, which is utter failure until I'm suddenly really good at the mechanics because I've done everything wrong. And I might just try to get myself to just drop. But I don't know if I could do that from a sheer rock cliff.
Because that's like I was thinking about it. Like, I don't think, because it's hyper realistic, I don't think I could do orbital skydiving. You know, even though I know it's a game, I'm in it. I'm wearing Kirk's sparkly suit, like...
Looking great.
I mean, the interesting thing is if we apply reality to that sort of thing, like, things like video games and realism, like, they do affect how we interact with reality and what we consider make-believe versus reality. Like, they do in, like, with, like, 21st century technology. It would be interesting to see something that is effectively, like, your brain will look at it and say, this is real. This is 100% real. I'm feeling, like, my brain is feeling a certain amount of equilibrium, it's feeling all of these things, or maybe it's not. I'm now like getting suddenly like really interested in the biophysical mechanics of responding to a holodeck.
Well, I know, like, I was reading that with VR helmets, or goggles, whatever they call them now. Headsets, thank you. A lot of games have to program in a virtual nose.
Oh, yeah.
Because...
That's right.
Our brain basically erases our nose.
Turns off your nose.
We actually do see our noses, but our brain is like, get that out of there. Get that out of there.
Yeah.
So
it makes you think you're seeing in widescreen.
Yeah. So they actually realized that to help keep people from getting dizzy, they had to put in a fake nose for the brain to, again, ignore.
Wow.
Because the brain is like, where's the nose?
That's fascinating.
Like, your brain reacts really weirdly to a lot. Like, in terms of getting motion sick from video games, your brain is trying to reconcile a lot of things. Yep. And apparently, I have learned from a friend who wrote a college thesis on this that it disproportionately, at least at the time, so it was like 10, 15 years ago, it might have changed since then, it disproportionately affects assigned female at birth players.
Yes.
Because of the different wiring in the brain.
And there was a lack of female testers.
Exactly. Testers and designers.
Yeah, I think they found wider FOV in general, field of view, is better for everyone in general, but like, it's actually interesting. I tried finally playing Kingdom Hearts. Yeah. Which is like 2002?
Yeah, something like that.
So early 3D, very narrow field of view. I can't play for 1 hour at a time without getting dizzy. Yeah. Something about that old camera.
In VR?
No, on a TV.
Oh, on a TV.
Oh, are you wearing like 3D glasses? Or?
No, just playing on television. I don't normally get motion sick from video games, but something about that one, again, I think it's the FOV.
Yeah,
I know like one of the
makes a difference.
Like one of the big breakthroughs in VR that led to like the VR renaissance that we're kind of in now was that like sub-millisecond tracking became a thing. Like one of the biggest issues with earlier VR was that you'd move your head
then there'd be a lag.
and there would be a tiny lag, and
that's disorienting.
That's going to have me on my knees like, oh,
so
I think
where's the ground?
Also, they're being able to run at a higher frame rate helps a lot.
Yeah, I think the high frame rate, high resolution, and low lag motion tracking are like the three things that make it viable.
I've only ever done VR at like with your system. I remember enjoying the hell out of it.
What's your system, Chris?
It was PlayStation.
I had the PSVR.
Yeah.
The first one. They're releasing a second one soon.
I don't remember getting nauseous. I remember cleaning that damn window a lot.
By and large, I don't think any of the games ever... Some of the, like, you could do, like, video experiences, and some of those I was like... But yeah, no, they did a really good job of generally, like... Because, they've worked out a lot of technical kinks, and they figured things out. Yeah. I will say this is very tangentially related. One of the first video things I tried was, like, someone had set up one of those sphere cameras that gives you a 360 view of in a jungle somewhere. And a panther shows up, and it's just kind of poking around.
Oh, cute.
And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, hello, panther. And I was like...
And then it eats you.
And then I was like, I wonder how weird it will feel to reach out and have it not be there.
Yeah.
Because I'd seen videos of people, like, forgetting they were in VR and trying to lean on things and collapsing. And they're like, all right, I'm not going to do that. It's like, but I know there's nothing there. So what's it going to feel like? How is it going to affect me to reach out to a thing that isn't there, that my brain insists is there? What I did not know was that while I was wearing the VR headset, my cat had come next to me. So I reached out to touch air and found a head.
Oh, man.
And for a split second, was exceptionally confused.
Yes.
And it was a cat head, too.
Yeah.
Which is even better.
I have an almost identical story in which Jake and I were playing something. It was going to a wizard's workshop or something weird, and there was a critter on the floor. And Jake saw that one of our cats was being a dick and hanging out underneath us. And Jake says, "Yeah, reach down." I'm like, what? And they'd be like, "Oh, it's the cat. The cat's the thing."
I'm sorry, I can't get over it.
Yeah.
Because as far as the cat's concerned, it's like, oh, I'm getting pets.
Yeah, for me it was just like, do, what the fuck? Oh, hi, Phantom. Again, especially going in very much expecting nothing, and having something there was like, well, there goes that experiment.
But on the holodeck, if the panther was there,
it would eat you.
It would eat you.
It would like gum onto you
I'd say, yeah,
and not hurt you, and you'd be like, "Oh God, end program."
The safeties would kick in, the teeth would disappear, and it would just be like, rah, rah, rah. And how would the safeties work? Would the teeth disappear, or would it just turn into a kitten that is just kind of like gnawing at you? You're like, get off. Either method is acceptable.
I think the teeth would just disappear. It'd be like, oh no, it got distracted by something because it can't hurt you, so it has to get out of here.
The panther would pounce on you, knock you to the ground, press its weight, and then as it leans in, it goes, "You are dead."
You've lost the game.
It's that FromSoft style. You died with the brrr.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, the safeties, that's an interesting thing. I always wondered how that works. Like, because there's certain things, like, you get shot, so of course the safeties are going to kick in and turn the bullet into nothing.
Yeah, like we saw with Queen Arachnia, who got shot and was like, "I'm not dealing with this."
Yeah, nice try.
No.
But I do wonder, like, the computer must be actively, like, monitoring your health.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like that's been mentioned once or twice here or there.
Maybe.
Like when, like something about their vitals.
I mean, I imagine, but, like, I'm also, like, wondering, like, okay, what about something that isn't intentionally lethal on the holodeck, but, like, you had an accident, like, you tripped and, you know, we're going to hit your head on a rock.
Yeah,
but the rock is holographic.
Right. Would the computer be like, oh shit, he's about to hit his head on this rock, I should turn that rock into Jell-O or something?
I mean, people have gotten injured doing athletic stuff in like holodecks and holosuites, like Miles and his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's really something.
They go like whitewater rafting and they'll come back bruised.
Well, that's
those are cheap Ferengi holodecks, though. So.
That's the thing, though. Like, can it predict? Oh, you're about to pull something, because that's what he does. He pulls like his. So you're right. There are
dislocates it too.
Oh, does he?
Mm-hmm. It might be. I mean, in the case of your example of falling and hitting a rock, that might be an easier fix for safety protocol, by having it sense the sudden velocity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Meanwhile, with Miles, because he's holding the ore a certain way, he's more. That's more his own fault than the holodeck, than anything on the holodeck. Even if maybe the ore is a holographic thing, so unless the holodeck knows Miles can't fucking kayak for his life, the fucking paddle should disappear when he's about to do something silly.
But even like when they're playing baseball, like
whipping the ball at each other's head, it hurts. Rom hits Quark in the head several times.
Cheap Ferengi holodeck.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're running, you tear your ACL. There's nothing the computer can do to stop that.
Nope.
No, it's internal
So I
strain.
guess it's the difference. It's the question of is it the holographic environment that's going to hurt you, or is it something that you are doing that's going to hurt you?
Yeah.
I think usually it's got to be something you yourself did. Like if you're playing Velocity or racquetball or something with a ball that could fly at you really fast, I bet those won't hurt you because they're holographic.
Yeah, it'll just probably go through you, or like it'll only hit you up to a point. Maybe.
Yeah,
like you'll feel the impact, but even if it's going, 1,000,000 miles per hour, it's not gonna.
I'd say it actually, even those balls that hit Quark, it actually did not feel as bad as it should have.
Yeah, he just wanted to make Rom feel bad.
Ditto.
Yeah. So
speaking of Quark, I know one thing when I first brought up this topic to Caitlin, who sadly isn't here today to make the joke, so I'm gonna make it for her. Here you go, Caitlin. Because the first thing she said was, "Oh man, that holodeck program with sexy Kira on the bed but with Quark's head from Meridian.
I've been waiting for you.
Well, I mean, that's the real answer, though, isn't it? I mean, not that specific program, obviously, but I feel like...
But one of the erotic programs? Or?
I feel like the erotic programs would be getting a lot more use than the non-erotic programs.
Oh, yeah.
By the four of us, or in general?
I think in general.
How much internet traffic is dedicated to porn?
Exactly.
All of it.
Like, that's the evidence.
You know what would be really
the
fun?
rest is just a bonus.
I think it would be really fun to do is to take like a holonovel, something that has a set story that you're supposed to kind of interact with, but within certain parameters, and see just how much you can fuck with it before the program goes like, you broke it.
There's actually one of the most recent Lower Decks episodes from this past season. Very good at that, because Boimler is playing a program that's supposed to go off and do this own thing.
Ah, yes.
And he decides there's this random character that says some, general NPC thing, and he decides this is meaningful to me. It's actually a very, very good episode. I like this episode a lot. I'm going to follow this fucking NPC, and we're going to go down this rabbit hole because I want to know what the answer is. And it's the computer slowly realizing, okay, we have to fill this in. So it takes a moment for the character to be able to do something after that because it's not in the program.
I want to do that.
It's the computer figuring it out. It's actually really good.
Or really fuck with it. Do like, again, we were talking about Sherlock Holmes earlier. Do take a Poirot of some kind and be like, I'm going to be, I don't know if Poirot off the top of my head, but let's just say you're doing a murder mystery that you know. And you know that, Mr. Body is killed by Mr. Green.
Sure.
So you are like, fuck that noise. You go in before Mr. Green can and kill Mr. Body and see what happens. Mr. Green, what the fuck? And then the detective's all screwed up. See what, that would be great. Just really pushing the boundaries.
I mean, that would be a test of whoever wrote the program.
Yeah.
Definitely. Where you could, it would be like an AI generator. Just sort of like, let's fill in based on the parameters that have already been laid out for all of these characters and the events of the game or the world. Yeah. I would totally want to try to break the game.
I imagine there's different types of holonovels too. Like the Sherlock Holmes holonovel, as we found out, has a distinct solution. Like there is a killer, and I'm imagining if you go too far off script, it's just going to be like
it'll drag you back in.
Or just say you get to the end screen and it says game over or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. It's like
stop it, asshole. Yeah.
What's the name of the Black Mirror Clear Adventure story?
My
brain turned off.
I didn't watch
Bandersnatch.
That's it.
There we go.
Bandersnatch is very interesting. The first time Jake and I started watching Bandersnatch, because it's a game and it's a show/game/thing. It's an experience. It's quite good. The first time Jake and I started playing it, we thought to ourselves, okay, so this is obviously like the choice that will progress the story. We choose the choice, and it just plays the end screen. It plays one of the ending variables, and you go in and you play it again. And really cleverly done. Like, 1,000,000 fucking endings to this thing.
Here's why I don't think I would want to do erotic programs. I'm not in my own room.
Yeah.
It would be really weird to be in a space that I know has been used by other people for
that
probably
kind of your own room.
This same thing.
I was going to say, you can program it
and
to look like your room.
Someone could walk in at any time, or you get suddenly summoned out to duty.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a privacy mode.
Yeah, but still, though, if I'm in the middle of something and my comm badge goes up. But no, that aside,
that can happen outside the holiday.
Yeah, but I'm just like, again, my main thing is it's not my space. It's a public space that I know other people use. And again, the whole time I'll just be thinking, who else has done this in here?
Okay, Chris,
or something similar.
I got one word for you.
Mm-hmm.
Minuet.
Hotels.
Oh!
Hotels. Have you ever slept in a hotel?
We try not to think of that.
I mean, I've used a hotel, but not for that.
Yeah, but you've slept in a hotel bed.
Yeah.
So you know what has happened in that hotel bed.
Try not to think about it.
And on the hotel bed.
But here's, again, it's just like, and I know, again, the holodeck, it's the future. Like, they can burn away all the stuff that came before me. It's just, again, it's the fact that it like, I don't know. I don't think I could fuck in a hotel because it's not my space.
Okay.
But that's a me problem, probably.
But you're probably not the only one.
Your have to do in my room is my back alley behind a Wendy's.
There's actually it's been referenced in Lower Decks, like cleanup duty.
Yeah. It's all Riker cum.
Oh. But yeah, like, so I don't know. Yeah, I think that would be. Having thought of that, I'm not sure I could use a holodeck at all. Even for clean things, because I'd just be like, who was in here before me? What has Tom done in here?
It smells a little funky. That's the other thing about it. Speaking of smells, what does the holodeck smell like? Because does the holodeck create
burning?
I'm sure it creates
burning.
It must.
Otherwise, it would be very disorienting.
I'm willing to bet between sessions, it probably smells exactly like a fucking hospital.
That's probably true.
Huh. Like disinfectant and death?
Well, I mean, it probably just smells neutral. But yeah. I mean, I'm thinking of like, I don't know if you've ever been on any kind of like tourist attraction. It was a big thing when I would visit when my dad worked in London in the 90s. And I don't know how many of them, how long they lasted, but like the Tower of London had an attraction where, like one of those where you sit in a little car on a rail and it takes you through big diorama scenes. There was one in Nottingham for The Adventures of Robin Hood that might still be there, but they would recreate smells too. So
yeah,
like,
they did that at Disney too.
Yeah, which thing at Epcot was it? Soaring? That as you're supposed to be flying through an orange grove, they just blast you with orange smell.
Probably.
yeah, it was really nice for like English countryside scenes, and then you hit the Black Death, and that was really unpleasant. No, they recreated the smells.
Why would they do that?
Because like 12-year-old Liz was having a fucking blast. It was gross. More, please.
Wow.
This is medieval London. It stinks, and now everyone's dying. Oh God! And here's the Great Fire. Ooh, smells like burning.
Nice.
It's
s'mores.
burnt away all the smelly things. Thank God.
Well, speaking of smelly things, there was another one I wanted to bring up, and that was Tuvok's Vulcan Rage program from Meld, when he was trying to figure out anger, like why his suitor kill people. And he made a program in which he just goes in and kills Neelix over and over again. And I wanted to bring that up to you guys so you could relive it.
Yes.
Those should be illegal.
I mean, that's that you're running up against is the question. I mean, since I've already gone and signed off on what's it called?
Friends in the Sims?
Insurrection Alpha, yeah. Friends in the Sims, mutinying. But I'm still creeped out to fuck of the goddess of love in Barclay's thing.
Yep, that's too much.
This is, like, killing Neelix over and over again is kind of...
Having said that, give me a program where it's someone I don't actually know that I can kick the shit out of to just...
Yeah.
Oh, like Worf's Let's Kill Skeletor every week.
Yes. I think
Worf's exercise program.
Yes.
Or, honestly, I think we'd all like a program where we could beat the shit out of, like, equipment we have to deal with regularly, but it actually reacts.
Like a copy machine.
Yeah, like, it actually...
Fuck this thing, it never works.
It feels... Well, it doesn't actually feel pain, but it reacts like it does. Like, you can actually beat the shit out of your printer, and it goes, no, stop! It's like, never! That would probably be more cathartic than beating up fake people. Because that's the thing, you can't actually... You want to hurt stuff sometimes, and you can't. It can only hurt you.
Yeah, it's valid.
Chris's anger issues come out again. Alright, last one I wanted to bring up, because this one's magical. The Rescuing Moogie program from the Magnificent Ferengi, because that one is so great.
Okay, that one's pretty great.
Because it goes wrong every
program.
time. Do a heist program?
Yeah,
that'd be amazing.
Do a heist program.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I think, like, I'm not a LARPer in general, and I tend to feel real awkward about the concept, but I feel like there's something about, and I probably would feel awkward in a lot of hollow novels and similar setups, but like I feel like it's that much more enticing. It's like, you want to play a heist? Yeah, I want to play a heist. You want to dress up and do it? Yeah. You want to stay in character while doing it? All right. Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that obviously there's the limitations of filming things, but that our crews could be way more creative. Like, I don't know why they're always playing in...
Why they're not Godzilla trashing a city?
Why they're not Godzilla trashing a city, or like, why not be in a fucking cartoon world? Like, that would be cool.
Why not just fucking fly?
Flying?
Yeah.
I mean, Tom
Cartoon
did that as
world?
Captain Proton. Which I
True.
think
He's like
you
one of the
would
only
probably play.
Oh, did I not say that? Yeah, I'd play the fuck out of Captain
Yeah.
Proton. That was supposed to be, that would be the
100%.
first thing I'd say.
Yay.
Play the hell out of
Yeah,
that.
Captain Proton is probably as close to, like, actual fantasy stuff as we see. But,
Yeah.
I want to have a lightsaber fight with Darth Vader. Like, that would be fucking cool.
Yeah, like, you could actually have superhero physics in a program.
Shit.
Fucking be a goddamn wizard.
Yeah.
You shoot fire from your hands.
Yeah. Just like straight up magic shit. Why not?
Yeah, we know it can do crazy shit. We didn't see it, but there was that one Klingon who kept playing the Battle of something or other over and over. Might have been Core.
Yeah, it sounds like Core.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
I don't want to do the fucking Alamo, but that, would really run the processors. So many AI figures. That'd be great, just like, hey, fucking all kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean,
Instead,
I guess
they're playing goddamn 19th century fiction.
What is it? The Adventures of Flotter.
Yeah,
like that's pretty fantastic. That's when they allow the characters to go into fantasy.
Almost exclusively
for children.
kids.
Yeah.
Well, they go, just make the.
Yeah, just make the themes not so kiddie.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of this is generational. Like we've come up like as a generation, like we've come up on like
video games. Yeah.
The comic book culture has become more normalized as we like once we became adults. We were just like, no, we're not letting go of this shit. We're gonna bring this into pop culture now. We're gonna have a $1 billion movie
5 movies a year from Marvel and all this.
Yeah,
stuff.
and now superheroes are mainstream.
There's too many now. Is what I say.
Yeah, well, I mean that's
too many.
That's a separate debate.
Even I'm pretty burnt out.
But like you go back, 20, 30 years, that just wasn't normal. That wasn't something that everyone was allowed to just indulge in, and so it's just not. Like that's nerdy shit. Like I feel like there was a hint of that energy of just like this is where you spend your time in this episode in Chaotica.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like
true.
It's highlighting like
she wouldn't say that today. I don't think.
No, Tom and Harry are nerds.
Yeah.
They're those two kids who go up to get up to nerdy shit, and they're running around with capes and swords.
I mean, Tom literally a few months ago was playing Car Mechanic Simulator.
Yeah. He's a nerd.
Oh, Power Wash Simulator.
Okay, but power washers are a lot of fun to use.
That's what I mean. Like, if I didn't actually have to deal with the aftermath of a power washer,
I'd cleanse the world.
How about this? How about Power Wash Simulator, except you're Godzilla and you're power washing Tokyo?
There it is. That's Jake's.
Yes, this city is unclean.
a really helpful Godzilla that cleans your city.
Yes.
Aww.
Dude. Then other Godzilla comes through. He's like, "Are you fucking kidding? I just tidied up." Oh, Jesus.
Aww. Were there other holodeck programs that we've seen that you guys wanted to bring up?
I particularly like when you already mentioned Lower Decks, like the Crisis Point holonovels, which are Boimler's holonovels. I liked the spontaneous generating like side quest.
Yeah, that was so good.
I was like, okay, I want to play a game like that where a holo novel like that where I can just sort of like, I'm gonna follow this and see where it goes and just make shit up. I love that kind of stuff, and it would be nice to be able to do that for once, as opposed to having all of my players in a game I'm GMing do it to me, which happened all the time. They collected all my NPCs. Sorry. Well, no, I don't want to apologize to you. I still had fun with it anyway.
That sounds both rewarding and frustrating.
Great. It felt really great. I was like, oh, they like my characters. Oh, God, I need to come up with a backstory for this one. Now they need a second boat.
I'm going to need a bigger second
They
boat.
literally had to get a second boat one season. But anyway.
I don't think I was in that one.
No, so. That was before your time. But the other thing I liked about the Crisis Point holonovels in Lower Decks is the opening credits, like full movie level, like orchestra with the credits that are coming up. Like this is like I'm watching Star Trek 4. Mm. It's definitely and they're sitting there like commenting as the credits are going. Like, okay, I would want to have to sit through the credits like that. That would be fun to heckle.
Well, they did some fun things in that episode too. Like inside the holodeck, it was letterboxed. And then outside it wasn't, but
when you say letterboxed,
like the screen,
the aspect ratio,
yeah. So like, but it was clear that in the holodeck it was also letterboxed. Like the characters are experiencing reality letterboxed.
It's like black and white Captain Proton.
Yeah.
Like when they left the holodeck, they had to step over.
Oh, that's right.
Over the black bar to get out, which was funny.
Yeah, and you could look in from the hallway into the holodeck and see that it was a different aspect ratio than the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Very clever.
That reminds me, apparently McNeil has been trying to get them to do a Captain Proton cartoon.
Why haven't they?
I don't know.
Get him, McNeil. We support you.
I say now that, Lower Decks has been very popular, and if hopefully Prodigy has been, I do not know, then fuck, why not? Go for it. Let McNeil play him.
At the very least, they could try a soft, like a soft, what's it called? Soft pilot?
A backdoor pilot?
Backdoor pilot, that's it.
Just do it.
Lower Decks.
Do a short once. Bring back the short treks. Do a short.
I miss the short treks. I haven't done a lot of those since the
now they've
batch.
got 80 fucking shows
going
going at
once.
There's
so much Star Trek right now. It's not even funny.
Oh, I really loved the short treks because they were like a playground to do weird shit in.
Yeah, all sorts of little one-offs.
Some was hit or miss, though, I feel like.
But they can take that risk,
Yeah, they're not locked into a series that turns out to be garbage.
Yeah, and they're short enough that if it's a miss, you're like, next, done.
Just, take it slow. Just green light like a 6-episode season. If it does well, you make more.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm behind this.
Yeah, Captain Proton, Bond thing.
What were your tops that you'd want to play, Jake? Did I collect any tops from you?
I don't know. I don't know if I have any tops that I'd like to play. Yeah, I don't know. I actually think The Big Goodbye looks pretty fun.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I think Picard has some good taste there.
Especially if you're playing with Guinan, looking great.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is in a specific program, but the Future Imperfect holodeck was kind of cool, where
the one that little
Riker's where the alien created an alternate.
His name Baran? No, that was that different guy. Lost his name.
I don't remember.
Now.
Created that alternate future. And that's kind of an interesting take on the holodeck, is like visualizing future scenarios.
What do you have for me?
Oh, I wrote on Crisis Point for you.
Okay. Because
that made sense. And also it means I'll go and get a screen grab from Crisis Point.
There you go. Okay, fair enough.
They might be looking in from the hallway and seeing that the aspect ratio is different, because that's exactly when I first saw someone point that out, I thought, holy shit, that is clever and nerdy.
Yeah.
Good for them. So we'll see y'all on the holodeck then.
Yeah.
I think we've run out. We talked about VR. We talked about
noses,
Bandersnatch, all kinds of things. We like games. We play games. We'll play more next week as we're watching more Voyager next week. Those are the wrong cards.
There's more?
Damn it. All right, next week. Oh gosh, next week. I forgot this was next week. Hang on. Let me make sure I wrote this down correctly.
Oh no, Sext week.
Is this what we're doing? Yes, it is. Holy cow.
Oh my god.
Next week we have a mouthful next week, because we're going to start with the next episode, Bliss. But then we've got a 2-parter on the way, so we're just going to do both of them, because cram it in. We're doing both parts 1 and 2 of Dark Frontier.
Ooh.
That title's familiar.
So join us next week for that as we continue on through the Delta Quadrant in Voyager. We'll have more great, holodeck programs. Nope, blog posts on the way, which I'm sure you're following along at sshbpodcast.com, over on our Tumblr. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. I care less every day. So join us there, and we'll see you next week. This has been Ames.
Oh, this is Jake.
This has been Chris.
And this has been Liz.
And we've saved Liz from Dr. Chaotica's wrath.
Yay.
My hero. Hooray.
Join us next week for some other bullshit.
Gigantic ants.
Damage. Help.
Intruder.
If you want me to try and fill in, I'm not sure I have as many dick jokes.
Anuses.
Brown eye.
Oh yeah.
Touch dicks.
Fisting.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's the greatest hits. I think we can get started.
It's just not the same without it. It's not the same.
It's somehow worse when it's medicinal or medical or technical.
I was referring to the esophageal sphincter.
It's just a horrible word.
It's also a bad sphincter. There's no good sphincter.
Yeah, no, it's a terrible. All sphincters are unpleasant.
So far, it's either the poop hole or the burp hole.
Yeah.
Are the because it's any kind of circular muscle,
the duodenum, that I think.
Are the heart valves technically sphincters, or
I don't know. I don't think they work the same way.
Flappy.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Flappy
they're
valves.
round, but they're flappy.
I think the duodenum is.
What's the duodenum?
That's from the stomach into the small intestine.
I think
so it's sphincters on both sides.
Oh yeah, it's sphincters all the way down.
The pee hole's a sphincter, right?
Probably.
So I started to Google it, and it filled in for me how many sphincters are there in the human body.
12.
Place your bets.
I'm going to go with 6.
We got 6, we got 12.
But it could be as few as 3 or as many as 8,000.
I feel like it's either going to be not a bunch or a surprising shitload.
Iris, sphincter. Maybe?
Are they?
I don't know.
They might be.
I don't know how they
I'm
work.
going to go with 20.
I'm seeing 50 or 60.
Holy!
Oh, that's a lot of sphincters.
All right, let's actually get.
There are over 60 in the human body.
Damn.
Let's actually get the room tone. I will look that up later.
I'm glad you got this great post content credit.
There you go.
Can we do a blogtivity on the sphincters of the body?
Do it on your own time, Jake.
It's for you, Caitlin.